All right, guys. First time we've really gone live on our own Instagram and any of our channels. Um, and we're going to let some people roll in here real quick. But basically, we want to do this video as kind of like a year-end review how 2018 went for us and how great of a year it was. Thanks to all of our customers and dealers and so forth. Kind of some of the cars we built. And then we're going to go ahead and open it up as a Q&A session, so we can answer some questions, any technical stuff you may need. Anything you have any questions, any new products we're going to be coming out with. We're going to kind of announce softly what we have planned for 2019 in our own product lineup, and let you kind of answer, ask any questions you may have on it. See a few 4R200 customers already chiming in. Thank you for that. But yeah, 2018 was a strong year for us. We came out with a lot of new stuff. Got to build some really cool cars. The 4R200 was something that was probably the most successful, debated, contested product that we were involved with. Luckily, we have partners in performance like Lund Racing, and they help us work out a lot of the issues that we had with it and develop it. And the development, is always ongoing. We're always trying to find new ways, new products, something to make it work better. The 4R200 for a short while there did hold the record, ET record, I believe it was, not mile an hour. Shortly, Brett LaSala, who's a good friend of ours, was able to take that back, and we'll just keep pushing each other, keep going faster, The 6R80 stuff really did well for us this year. We came out with our own frictions and steel kit using the Ray Bestis GPZ frictions, and I believe that's going to continue in the future, as we'll tell you here in a few minutes. The 6R80s, building a bunch of them, getting a lot of them out to everybody. So I want to thank everybody for their support and choosing PVH. It's a big part of who we are, is that our customers are pretty damn awesome. And without you guys, we really wouldn't have cars that are going out there and running numbers and showing everybody that they're successful. As far as a 4R200 not being a 6R80, I don't really have to prove you're wrong, because you already are wrong. The other things we did, bracket-wise, really didn't make any changes in our bracket lineup. That's all going to be stuff that we're doing in 2019. Coyote swap-wise, our wiring kits were a big success. We have a lot of cool projects we're a part of because of that product lineup that we have. A lot of really cool builders we got to work with in and outside of the Mustang community. And we're really kind of going to be chasing that down a little bit more. You're going to see us out there doing a lot more events in 2019, trying to get to a lot more of the Good Guys events in different regions of the U.S. To try to get more hot rodders and builders into using our products in particular, since we're kind of an unknown quantity. And at the same time, going out and visiting different shops and different events out there where some of our customers who are their own builders, and meet up with them and shake their hands, get some names and faces matched up. So it's going to be a lot of fun in 2019 to do that kind of stuff. 2018 we only really got out to the Lone Star Nationals, Bradenton with NMRA, and a couple other car shows with the Foxtoberfest and so forth. 2019 we're going to expand that a little bit, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The shop itself went through some changes in 2018. 2 techs, 1 tech, busy, slammed, booked out, and we are still kind of in that position. We got things organized now, and it's working really well. We got Mike Chamberlain back there. Jake obviously is part of it as well, and we're continuing to do installations from small stuff to big stuff. Your headers, your springs, your cold air kits and tuning, to full-on builds with planning, doing the GT500 auto swaps, doing auto swaps and all sorts of stuff, getting all sorts of different projects that are built here locally. Guys are doing Coyote swaps in older vehicles, having some issues. Cars come down to us, we get them helped out and get them on the road. I got to work with a lot of cool stuff like that, Broncos and F100s and different vehicles. We even had a buggy that was custom built that was Roush supercharged with an MT82 transmission behind it. So it's opened up a lot of doors for us, and lets us continue to expand what we do and how we do it. So we're looking forward to more of that in 2019. Let's see some of these questions here. What happens when you combine an 80mm CPR? We're going to find out. Well, I hope so. Oh, Sean Swearman. Hey, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. Car's looking good. I'd like to see what that combo is going to do with myself. See if we can get that into the 7s. Need to work on that. We'll go ahead and open it up. If you guys want to start asking any questions here in a few minutes, I'm going to start walking around and give you an idea of what we got in the shop. We got a few cool builds in there. I know Alex does a good job of telling everybody about what we got going on, so it might be a little duplicate if you follow his channel in particular. We'll send some thanks out to our dealers and companies that we work with. Late model restoration, always try to support those guys. They've been a stocking PBH dealer from the beginning, and when we were nobodies, they took the dive, and they've been a great supporter of ours. Stangaholics out in California, guys like Palmetto Pony Parts, Midway Mustang, all great dealers of ours. Guys at Lethal Performance, everyone seems to know Jared, the golden boy over there, and yeah, they're all great dealers of ours. So if you ever need any of our products, even if you don't see it on their website, hit them up, ask them. They'll start carrying it, and we need that so they know that there is a need or a want for our products through their channels, and we'll go ahead and set them up as dealers and get them rolling. We are going to be expanding our dealer program in 2019. One of the things we're going to talk about later is some new machinery that we got in the mix, and a new wholesale web ordering system that's going to be launched probably by February of 2019. A lot more people joining. Good. 10-second combo. 10-second combo for 2015 daily driver, 93 octane. Just put a blower on it. It's kind of hard not to make 600 plus rear wheel with 10, 11 pounds of boost any which way you skin it. Whipple, a VMP, Paxton, you name it. You should be able to get that done. Wiring up gauges and make it easier. Have gauges for an O2 Coyote swap. We're actually working on that. Look for something from Dakota Digital later this year. We've been working alongside or pushing certain companies that are in the game to make more products for the Coyote swap guys. So Dakota Digital, who currently has Fox body gauges, look for them to release some new edge gauges in 2019. We're going to be working with them on the CAN bus compatibility and getting that updated, so you'll get not only your manual transmission gauge stuff in there, but for the 6R80 as well. So transmission temp, gear position, all those things. So there'll be some gauge work. As far as current suggestions I can give you, I don't really have any. Try to make it work. Try to feed the CAN bus information into the gauge, and hopefully everything lights up. We unfortunately have only had 1 or 2 shots at doing it, and in both cases we went with aftermarket gauges or older gauge packs. So, but I have seen some guys get it working. How accurate and perfect, I'm not sure. Always email tunes and revise them. As far as dyno tuning, okay, so the question is versus remote and dyno tuning. Well, all the dyno tuning we do is remote. Even though it's here and it's on our dyno and we're in there, we're making the pulls, we have the laptop, we're not making the changes. Lund Racing's handling that. So when you're looking at doing a remote tuning, the same quality tuning that you get here, you can really do at home. What we suggest is if you're trying to get dyno tuned and you want to come down to our place, order the remote session, get the base files going, start the data logging. This is a tool that is really, really helpful and allows you to make sure that your vehicle is ready to get on the dyno before it gets here. So those base files, all the questions that Lund's going to ask you, answer them, let them know how the car is driving, and get to the point where you're rolling. And once you're rolling and we're starting to talk about doing wide open throttle hits, that's when it's time to put on the dyno. Also cuts down on your bill on the dyno, because if we have to spend 3 or 4 hours up there going through the initial stuff, well, it comes out of your pocket. And honestly, we would rather just get it here, make the hits, and then worry about the drivability later, and not find out that we have a loose water connection or exhaust leak or a bad sensor or something like that. That's stuff you can take care of in your driveway where you first fire the vehicle up. Cost to convert a 2002 2-valve Mustang to a Coyote, it's quite a bit. I would say there's a lot of options there. If you get into new motors and transmissions, you're paying somebody to do it, you should be budgeting somewhere in the $20,000 range. If you can do it yourself, you can probably cut that down to the $15,000 range. But, you know, depending on your skill level and where you're sourcing your parts, and if they're new or used, that's going to really weigh the scales there, it's going to really tip them one way or the next. So sounds good. Someone's loving their 4R200. We like to hear that. 4R200 swap in 2012 GT500 ballpark cost. When done on that setup in a GT500, I'd say with us doing it all brand new parts, Circle D converter, drive shaft, return style modification. If you don't already have a return style system on there, you're probably looking at the $16,000 range installed with a 4R200 converter. Like I said, all brand new parts from Ford. We don't do anything used. All new wiring, computer, sensors, everything. Even a fanned transmission cooler as well. All right, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to take you guys for a little tour around the shop. We'll get out of my office here in a second. I'm going to switch the camera around so you can kind of see what's going on at PBH. I think everybody left the office. It's pretty cool. So if you've never been here before, this is our front waiting area. We've got our custom PBH Coyote swap gear clock. You only see those here. Some of the articles and so forth we've done in the past. Some of our builds. Probably seen a lot of these cars in Bradenton, different magazine articles, King of the Street stuff. That's our front counter area. If you call in and get Christian, that's where his beautiful behind sits. This is kind of our lab, Jake's office. Things are being drawn, tested, PCMs being programmed, all that fun stuff. It's got a nice view of the airport too. Let's go into the shop. Mike, say hi.
What's going on?
Mike Chamberlain, doing some updates. We recently sold that car. That was Gus Gurmey's car. Little supercharged auto swapped Gen 1. This Coyote swap here, we're getting there, getting some more progress on it. Working on developing a few products on there, so it's kind of dragged a little bit, but we're going to get everything squared away here soon. Got the heat exchanger mounted up. AC's pretty much plumbed and figured out. Intercooler pump in place. This one's going to turn out really nice. If you've known PBH for a while, this is Danielle's Cobra. Danielle is Jake's better half. It's a single turbo 4.6. It's not going Coyote. She has mandated it does not. Say hi, Christian.
How you doing?
If anyone's looking for a clean Fox, single turbo with a Windsor, this one is available. Nice old car. It's been featured. Runs a pretty good number too. As far as how many 48 to 52 F1 trucks y'all, we don't actually do the Coyote swaps here in-house. I believe KC from KC's Paint Shop did a 53. I'm not sure about a 52. Maybe the guy Lucchese, he did one with a Kenny Bell on it, had our brackets. But it's definitely doable. As long as you can get the engine in the frame, get the transmission mounted up. Everything's pretty much universal as far as what it comes to fuel system, wiring, the power steering, making sure you have enough room in the frame for it, and go. It's really nothing special with those gears. Probably seen this car a few times here as we're getting things updated. It's an 0304 Terminator from Lund Racing. I think this is the car that started all four of them. It's twin turbo, has a 4.6. We have put a 6R80 in it and done some custom exhaust work here. And we're working on a wiring setup for that one. Random engines, transmission stuff getting ready to be built. Back here, pertaining to 2019, that's an EcoBoost motor that we're going to be working with to get some stuff done. And we'll tell you about that a little bit in a second. Some more cars that are in for repairs, waiting on parts. A little shot of our backyard there. A nice little deal. This is JJ's car, right? What are we doing to this one?
Just changing the plugs in it, going through it, make sure it's fresh.
Nice. You're running good. So that's just a quick walkthrough of the shop and some of the things we got cooking. Let's see what the question. Can I reuse an Sct X4? No, you can't use it on another car. You have to unmarry it when you unmarry it, you're going to pull the tune out of the car you first loaded it onto, and that will basically allow you to use that next vehicle, but now you don't have a tune in the original car you had it in. I don't know if you guys might know this guy.
How you doing? Are you live?
I am live, man.
Again, I saw a couple of guys. Tony B is a big fan. He talks a lot of shit. He's a good guy though. And then
That the guy asking about the 4R200?
yeah, he's just being funny. And then the other guy who has a 7,700 mile 4R200. So for a lot of people that ask about drivability and longevity and all that stuff, that guy has 7,000 miles on. This shirt makes me look jacked. I love this shirt.
Are you flexing?
No, seriously, this is just me. But he said he has 7,700 miles on his 4R200. I talked to him yesterday. He's gonna pull it. He pulled it apart. Said look mint. So he's
nice.
He's going after Blue Goose's record. He wants to be the fastest IRS equipped S550 around.
Go for it, man. The more the top of the tree there, the better.
Yeah, 4R200. So cool.
Yeah, David Brenson's got like 5,000 miles on his.
Oh, DVR?
Yeah, DVR. He sent it down to get just looked at. There's no issues with it.
Right.
4R200, and he's going to be using it next year. And
that car was nice. That was a nice car.
Yeah, his is. If you guys don't know, DBR High Performance, they are. I believe they're in Tennessee, right?
Yep.
They're in Tennessee. If you need any work done, definitely check those guys out. All of our products are available through them. They do Coyote swaps and big turbo builds, Hellcats, and all sorts of crazy shit beyond what we get into here. But yeah, you can get our products through them, installed by them, which is nice, and they also offer Lund Racing tuning as well. Alex, question for you: are you on steroids?
No.
You're
but
not?
Thanks for assuming that. That tells me my gym work is paying off. But this is not about me. This is for PBH.
Yeah. I think he is on a couple cycles myself. His overall outlook has changed, but we're hoping he gets back to his normal self again when he gets off that shit.
Yep.
Maybe. All right, so if we have any other questions, I'll field them. But we're going to start talking about 2019. 2019, starting tomorrow, is going to be a big year for PBH. I don't think anything is going to change for us other than just getting more product out there. Making a few small changes to the way we deliver stuff. We have acquired a new machine for our machine shop, so things are speeding up. We've had a rash of back orders, and back orders are never fun. We had to do it just because we couldn't keep the parts on the shelf in quantity enough to fill the orders, which is a great problem to have, but it's still a problem. So we thank everybody for their patience on that and holding out and not switching and trying to find another solution. But we have fixed the issue, and I think we're going to have not only our product in stock all the time, but a bunch of new products available for you too in the right amounts. And you'll see a lot more dealers offering it because of that. That goes for our transmission cooler fittings, the 4R200 hub itself, all of our bracket kits. As for the bracket kits, we do have a new kit launching probably in the month of January here in the next few weeks. It's going to be our Whipple Supercharger addition to our product lineup, and what that does for you, our NA bracket kit for the Coyote swaps that gives you the power steering solution and an AC solution from a 4.6 is going to be the same, except when it comes to the alternator, similar to our VMP and Roush kit, it's going to be accommodating the Whipple kit. So it's just an alternator bracket that's different belt routing, different belt, but your AC and your power steering stay the same. So if you're NA right now using our bracket kit and you want to put a Whipple on there, you don't have to change anything on your AC or your power steering. It's just a matter of doing an upfit, which will probably be $399, and that'll give you the idler bracket and the alternator bracket. You're going to use the same tensioners and a new belt. The other thing that goes along with that is we are now a Whipple Superchargers dealer. We have an exclusive kit with them. So if you're looking to put a Whipple on a Coyote swap and you're going to use our brackets, make sure to check with us on the pricing, because the only way to get the Whipple Supercharger kit with the pieces removed from it that we replace in our kit is through us. It's an exclusive kit, so you don't have to buy a Whipple bracket kit and then turn around and spend another $950 on a complete bracket kit from us and then sit there with an idler bracket, a tensioner, all these other little pieces that you paid for that you're not going to use. So make sure you check with us. We're going to be putting that on our website in the next few weeks once we get all the kit part numbers together and make sure everything fits. We're going to have a base kit with our brackets. It'll come with a 132 millimeter throttle body, cold air kit as well. And then from there, you have an option to get the heat exchanger kit with intercooler pump in a couple different formats. One for Fox bodies, one for older pickups, older Mustangs, with the heat exchangers that are shaped for them. The older vehicles, what's going to be nice is the heat exchangers are actually going to have a radiator cap, so you don't have to have an expansion tank. Helps keep the engine bay a little bit cleaner. So look for all that stuff to be launched probably the next few weeks. What's next for us wiring wise? We are working on a few wiring updates. We're hoping to have 6R80 Gen 2 control packs in the next few months. We're working on acquiring all the right pins for those harnesses so we can get them manufactured. Another thing we're working on is a Gen 1 6R80 Gen 1 manual transmission body harness for anybody who's pulling complete powertrains from the junkyard. This body harness will allow you to then just purchase the body harness and reuse the engine harness you already have, the transmission harness you already have, PCM, sensors. Helps keep the cost down as far as doing a swap. And we've been talking about for a while, but it's something we're going to put into motion soon. In 2019, you should see that from us. The other thing we're going to be doing, which is related back to our brackets, is coming out with a new AC compressor bracket for the hot rodders, the street rod guys. They know a lot about the Sandin compressors, and the Sandin compressors are a lot of the companies like Vintage Air, Old Air Products, even Restomod Air use a 71, 76 Sandin compressor. So we're going to develop a bracket that allow you to also use that with the rest of our bracket kits. So soon in 2019, you'll have an option when you're ordering a kit from us to either get the 4.6 bracket or the Sandin bracket. So if you're building a street rod or doing a custom AC system, the Sandin compressor option is going to be a lot better for you. It's a lot easier to use. It's a smaller compressor, and adapter fittings are readily available for them. They come out of the main body, aiming out, so it works out a lot nicer. And that'll also be available to work with our Whipple and VMP and Roush bracket kits and NA. As far as supercharger setups, we're going to be looking at the new generation of Whipple superchargers to do a power steering solution for those guys. Then we're also going to be working on potentially, we'll see how things work out. We might have an opportunity to do one for the Edelbrock E-Force blowers and their 2650. We'll see how that comes out, but it's very different from the Whipples. It's very different from the VMPs. So hopefully we'll have a way to do that, and then basically allow you to do your Coyote swap and then supercharger any which way you see fit. As it is right now, we have it for VMP, we have it for Roush, even Pro Charger with a little bit of modification, and now the front feed Whipple. We hope to add Edelbrock E-Force in 2019, and then the new it's a Gen 5, right? The new Whipple?
The new Whipple's a Gen 5.
Gen 5 Whipple with the top-mounted intercooler and the blower underneath. Delivering products. Well, we got a new machine. It's called Skim Pack Machine. So now when you get our products, instead of them being in Ziploc bags and loose in a package, what you're going to end up getting is this. So you're going to get, that's our power steering pump bracket with hardware. As an example, here's our injector spacers. So they'll be in a nice sealed up box. Here's an alternator bracket with all its standoffs. This is key. It's going to help us keep from having you missing hardware. When you open up a package, if you say, hey, I don't have this bolt here. Well, if you look back at the package and you see there's a spot for it, well, check under the toolbox and check in your pockets and stuff like that, and in your intake, because it may have fallen out and fallen into something like that. We get a lot of calls for that kind of stuff. We always help everybody out and get them what they need, but this will help slow down any of the issues we have in the past with you getting a package and not having all the pieces inside of it. Not that that's super exciting stuff, but it's an upgrade for us, and especially since we never really planned to be doing this at this level, it's a big step for us. So, not that it's, again, the most exciting thing in the world, but it'll be in all of our products moving forward. Events. Right now, we are planning on being at the NMRA event in Bradenton. I'm not sure if we're going to be in the same booth spot as we were in the past. We're going to be working out those details here shortly. So that's in March. We'll at least be there with several customers running. in various different classes. We'll see if we'll get that 93 twin turbo Cobra out, which is one of our premier builds from 2018. That car in particular, owned by Wayne, was stellar. 4 passes out of the box, went 8.2, 824, like 170 plus miles an hour. I think it's going to be kind of the example of what you can do in a lightweight Fox body or a lighter weight Fox body compared to the S197s, S550s, with the combinations that we know work in those cars. So it's not a crazy alien combo. It's a built motor, sleeve, no VCT, twin turbo, air-to-air intercooler, 4R200 transmissions. It's Lund Racing tuned. It's on the 85. It's using the same 3 pumps we put in an S197 because it's got a 0304 Cobra tank in it with a 4 Innovations fuel hat. I mean, it's pretty much a rubber stamp of what we see in like Joe Basil's car, but in a lighter chassis. So you see the weight difference of 400, 500, 600 pounds, how much quicker the cars are out of the box. And we're looking forward to seeing a lot more guys doing that. I think the guys at forget their name, Danton Performance are building some crazy Fox body with bull horns with that same combination. So what'll be interesting, there's been so much chatter about the 6R80 records and the 4R200 being involved. What's going to happen when the 6R80s are inside of lightweight Fox bodies and those guys are going well into the 7s and maybe even lower than that, and resetting those records in lighter vehicles? Are we going to have an S197 record, an S550 record, a Fox body record? It's gonna really turn that whole program on its head. So see how that works out in 2019. But we should be part of a few of them. What else we got going on? 2019 events. Bradenton. We're looking at a few good guys events. Potentially going up to Nashville with them, and the plan there is to run my coupe, my road racing coupe, in the autocross up there in Nashville. So if you're in the Nashville area or in striking distance, make sure to check out that event. It's actually a really good event for just about anybody who's into cars. Good Guys has a great program. It is for older vehicles, but on Sundays of their event, it's open to all domestic vehicles. And if you have any year domestic vehicle, you can run in the autocross on Sunday as well. It's called their All-American Sunday. Coming up in a few weeks, we will be taking that same car, my coupe, down to Homestead for the Street Racing Made Safe Autocross on January 27th. We're potentially going to be doing some visits in Columbus in July. I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to make it a PRI or SEMA this year as well, but we might be looking at some other stuff, maybe even that 55th anniversary event in Charlotte for the Mustang anniversary at the Mustang Museum, Charlotte Motor Speedway. That one we just caught wind of yesterday. And then we'll be looking at potentially going back to the Mod Nats in November, I believe, seeing how that works out. If we got a few cars going up there and we'll get cut up here at the shop. Unfortunately, at the end of last year, it just wasn't in the cards. We were way behind on production, rolling out a bunch of new products, trying to develop stuff, and it just wasn't going to happen. So hopefully we'll get everything organized again and be able to get back to those activities with our customers, and go on and enjoy the track visits with them, and just have fun, run these cars that we build. Our customers are awesome. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do anything. Because we're not the ones driving the cars, we're just building them and getting the tunes in them. They're the ones driving them, and none of them have really come out to be slouches. So they're the impressive part of it. What we'll do now is, if you guys have any questions, anybody got any technical questions, product questions, setup questions, go ahead and post them up. I'll be here for another 10-15 minutes. Can answer anything you got going on there. Anything about our new products we're coming out with, any product suggestions you have, any build suggestions. Recently I was told that we don't do enough diesel swaps. Well, I don't really think we're going to get into that, but I know they're definitely out there. What else, Alex? What's going on, man?
I don't know. I mean, you talked a lot about people making sure that their cars are vetted before they go on dynos. The difference between remote tuning and dyno tuning, it's kind of the same thing for us.
What we'll touch on real quick is Coyote swap tuning. We sell this. If you don't understand the whole process of data logging it's understandable. If you're building an F100, you haven't owned a Mustang or have a remote tuning session done on a previous build, it's going to be a little bit different because you're not talking to somebody, you're not dropping a car off to them. But it's vital as you're building the vehicle to touch base with your tuner first, because if you have an idea for an intake tube that you want to do on that car and it doesn't jive with the way the vehicle's supposed to work, you're going to throw all that work away. I've had probably about 8 customers, I'd say probably about 7 cars this year alone that finished the build, and as soon as they sent us a picture of the cold air intake, they had to take it all apart. We had a guy put a mass airflow meter behind the throttle body. We had a mass airflow meter on an elbow right in front of a throttle body. I had a mass airflow meter in a silicone tube. We have to, so you don't waste your own time. Check, know what the rules are. Ask us, ask questions, email us, Instagram us, hit up Lund, start a ticket. Even though you haven't purchased anything from them, if you're planning on purchasing something from them, make a ticket. At least start that communication with them so that when you do purchase your remote session, you're not dragging them through the process, and you're not wasting your own time, money, and effort before you get to the point where you can even fire the truck up or the car up. But you got a data log. A lot of guys, they forget. It's not, it's the easiest thing to do with the N-Gauge. I don't think we can make it any easier to do it. So try to kind of play within the construct of how these things are done. Your life is going to be a lot easier, and your project's going to be a lot better for it.
If you don't know how to data log, we have a list of dealers on our website, and if you're near one of those dealers, you can drop off the vehicle at any of those dealers and say, look, I want to finish the tuning process, because maybe it's over your head, maybe you don't have the time, maybe you don't have the patience, but our dealers know exactly what we need and what we want, and they're equipped to fix any issues that you might have. So if you're in the Florida area, I'd say, the Treasure Coast from, let's say, Delray to Port St. Lucie, you can go to Power by the Hour, or any further south than that, Lujan Motorsports is down there. You go North Carolina, South Carolina, Carolina Speedworks, all those guys. So we have a list of dealers, and if data logging is an issue for you guys, then our dealers, I'm sure, if you schedule something with them, that's at least another option that you have if data logging is a little, daunting for you guys.
So we got a question there from, Batchy J. Probably butchered your name there, but as far as that 3.5 EcoBoost I had showed you in the shop, the plan is to use that to develop some products for the 3.5 EcoBoost crowd. We're going to be putting that in our 76 F100, hopefully here soon in 2019, and figuring out a power steering solution for those guys, and looking at some of the wiring updates as far as wiring control pack for a 6R80. Hey Pezzo, you can come in and say hi.
Good morning.
It's afternoon. But that's
It's a video. All right. That was Frank Pezzo. When you guys call, there's 2 Franks here. I'm the good-looking one. That's Pezzo. Pezzo's been answering a lot of the sales calls now that I've been more behind the scenes and working on the social media stuff. So, well, you didn't get a chance to see him, but that was him.
He's ugly.
He's ugly. It's not much to see anyway.
Exactly.
Changed tuning companies a couple times. Why do the data logging processes change each time?
Because there are different things different companies want to see. Let's say, for instance, you have a supercharged vehicle. There are certain things that I want to see in that, like load. There's a different load range, different spark range, different areas of spark ranges, Spark Advance versus Spark Advance V2, a bunch of different things. But some tuning companies want to see the bare minimum. Let's say fueling, spark, and a couple other things. We want to see what the transmission's doing. We want to see what the short term and the long terms are doing. We want to see what both banks are doing. So different companies ask for different things. Now, I'm not saying one's better than the other. It's just what we prioritize over what others prioritize. I'm not saying we're better or we see more, but we tend to see a lot more data than most because our N-Gauge is pre-configured for data logging everything. I'm saying shift pressures, converter slip, desired versus actual, bunch of things. So different companies, no different than McDonald's and Burger King. You're going to get 2 different things, but at the end of the day, you have a burger.
With cheese?
That's
no
the
cheese.
thing, right?
With cheese.
That's the thing. That's what we call a flex tune. Cheese.
Well, yeah, tuning's going to be the hottest topic all the time because you can't build any of these vehicles without tuning. Whether you got an S197, an S550, a New Edge Coyote swap, a Fox Body Coyote swap, an F100, anything you can think of, you have to tune it at the end. The factory computer can get you there within certain parameters, but if you go far away from what the factory is, as far as the max airflow meter, gearing, and so forth, you're only going to get so far. And potentially, you can really hurt the motor if you don't get it tuned and get it checked.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's going to be different depending on who you work with. It also depends on the project itself. So if it's an NA 14 GT powertrain and a 76 F100, what they're going to be looking at in the data logging is going to be a certain set. Now, that changes when it becomes a twin-turbo S550 with a 4R200 transmission and all this crazy stuff going on. They're going to have to data log a lot more stuff, and you're going to have to data log a lot more often because you want to have that snapshot of every pass just in case something does go. I mean, what if you lose 4 miles an hour? If you're not logging, unless you know exactly what it is, what else do you go by to try to figure out what happened? So it's important. You got to get in that repetition of doing it, and the more you do it, the better your results are going to be, and the less crazy you're going to go.
Yeah.
Someone just said I have a face for radio. That's my
Your voice is good. Your face. I mean, look, I'm gorgeous, so it's different. I have no hair though. I mean, there's my flaw. There's always a flaw. We have more than I do.
Look at that.
I got the ring going.
That's nothing.
I got the horseshoe.
At least you shave it all. I don't know if I can go with shaving it all, man.
Man.
And on top of that, we're wearing the same hat.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. We are.
We're twinsies.
Exactly.
Am I limiting myself by running an Sct X4? Should I change to Engage, going to NA forever?
Nah.
Correct. Currently, full bolt-on, ported 18 manifold. I don't think you're really limiting yourself on an Sct X4, especially if you have Lund Racing doing your tuning, because it's not like there's only certain tuning they can do on an SCT versus an Engage. If you need to data log your combo a lot, then the Engage is just going to save you a lot of time.
Right.
It's going to make it a lot easier. I know myself, when I drive, I can't use an SCT to data log because I can't have a laptop flying around the cabin of the race car trying to plug into my OBD2 port to then hit start and then shut off because I'm strapped in, we're going left to right, we're stopping, and it's going to be a mess. With an Engage, I mount it, I plug it in, and hit diagnostics, data logging, select the log file, and we're done. And when we're done running, we just tap the screen again. I can do that with my racing gloves on, off, I mean, any of that stuff. Yep. So it's just going to save you a lot of time if that combination needs to be logged. If you're NA and it's just a simple setup, you can just stick with the X4 and send the same data logs. You just got to go through a lot more process to get that information over to Lund. How much of a pain is it to get a Smog legal Coyote swap done in an SN95?
If you have everything that is stock manifold, stock everything, and your states, actually, it depends on your state, because some states plug in and they pull a VIN, and there goes that.
We unfortunately don't have a whole lot of practice with that because we don't have emissions in Florida. And I think it could be done, just like anything. I get asked questions like this all the time. With enough time and money, anything can be accomplished. You really have to study your state's rules as far as emissions and see if it's possible to do those things, because, yeah, you can put the cats on, you can put the sensors in, you can even potentially hook up the evap system to make sure that all the evaporative emission stuff is working. But, again, the VIN number is something that may or may not be something you can get around. If you got an SN95, your VIN number is not going to match up to what the computer shows if it's a Gen 1 or a Gen 2 computer.
Yep.
And I don't think you guys have the ability to change that. So check those rules. If your vehicle's old enough, I think in some of the states you don't have to get emissions.
Right.
So if you just get an older car and exempt yourself, I don't know.
Or move. Honestly.
Or move to Florida. There's plenty of room.
I'm telling you, I know a lot of people think it's like facetious, but the reason I moved is because
he's in California.
Oh, move. Move.
That's going to be a tough one, man.
Move.
Prop 65 warning on this live message. But anyway, that's going to be a hard one. I know there's guys out there doing it. I'm working with some guys, Isotope Motors, and they're building Lincolns out of California, selling them at Barrett Jackson, Coyote swapped. Obviously, a 60-something Lincoln isn't going to be in the emissions testing range, but the VIN numbers don't match, so I don't know. Just do a lot of homework and talk to guys you've seen do it. Look up even dealers of Lund Racing in California, if there are any,
Yeah.
and see what they've seen and what guys have been able to get away with, and see if there's something that we don't know about that they do that you can implement. Which ones make more power, VMP or Whipple?
Same. Depending on pulley combo and boost, about the same. You're not going to get one vastly better than the other. What you're going to get is power delivery differences. The Whipple tends to be softer down low than the VMP, but the Whipple makes more up top than the VMP, so it's a trade-off. But at the end of the day, similar boost makes similar power for both. If you're on the latest and greatest generation stuff, VMP has made 1100, Whipple has made 1100 on Coyote stuff. So pretty much the same. It's just a matter of Wendy's or, you know, Burger King. It's power delivery. Do you want more meat on your bun, or do you want more bread on your bun? It's just a matter of how you want it to taste.
You always want more meat on the bun.
Sometimes, but sometimes people like the bread, the buttery bread.
Well, if you get 2 hot dogs in the bun, that'd be better, right?
It's a lot
Double
of meat.
dog.
It's a lot of meat. But what I'm saying is, you're gonna make peak power. You're probably gonna make the same when it comes in and how it comes in. Is really up to you as to if you want a lot of grunt down low. I like a TVS. If you want a lot of peak high horsepower, the higher RPM range, the Whipple tends to outshine the VMP.
Well, the other thing to consider too, when you're looking at those as options, if you're doing a Coyote swap, is overall placement of things. When you've got a VMP, you got the throttle body in the back. You have to contend with putting the intake tube down the side and fitting the air filter. With a Whipple, it's in the front. It's a front feed setup. So it might be a little bit easier for your engine bay to have that in particular. They look completely different. Aesthetically, which one do you want to see when you pop the hood? Whipple offers all these powder-coated options and painting options and polishing. You don't have that with the Roush, the Ford Racing, or the VMP. So depending on what you're looking to get out of your vehicle, that's really the question you have to answer. Because price-wise, they're in the same. Performance-wise, they're very close. They're both very good superchargers. They have an OEM fit and finish. They're going to drive great because of the throttle bodies. I mean, it all works out good. So you got to answer all those questions, check all those boxes, and then compare them and see which one works best for you after your investment. There was a question there for a monoblade tune on an S550. If the tunes are figured out, I thought the throttle bodies were all jacked up.
There's some, like, are we talking like supercharged versions? Like the
Sound
Whipple,
like it.
The Whipple supercharged throttle bodies are figured out. Any other iteration, it all depends on who makes it. Ford Racing has been inconsistent. A couple of other manufacturers have been inconsistent. I would get with the tried and test, the tested stuff that works, which is the VMP Twin 67, the CJ 65. You can make up to 800 wheel. If you're not making 800 wheel, don't even consider a big mono blade or anything. Wayne's car went 8.2 on a CJ 65, but it's flow through, so it's a little different. But as of now, I do not see any big, massive monoblade besides Kenny Bell and the Whipple stuff that seems to work pretty well. Personally, I could be wrong, but as of now, what I've tested is Kenny Bell and Whipples, and those work fine.
So it is an NA setup.
NA setup, monoblade. So a Ford Racing monoblade works fine, but some monoblades are made inconsistent.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gotta. We know we have a tune that works. And if your car is jacked up on that tune, it's the throttle body, plain and simple.
Yeah, we started having issues with the monoblades from Ford Racing going back to 2013.
Yep.
The GT500s, we were putting them on there trying to get as much air into that 2.3 TVS, and all of a sudden we started getting fail-safes. And we're looking at tuning, because that was always the issue before, right? We're trying to figure them out. Does it work? Does it not work? And it wasn't in the tune. We had one that physically was chafing the side of the housing.
Yep.
And on the rebound, it was slowing down the blade. It was tricking the TP sensor, and we were in fail-safe mode.
Exactly.
And we went through, on that car, we went through 3 throttle bodies before we can actually deliver it to the customer with one that wasn't doing it. And we ended up putting a dual 65, but I think they've addressed it and gotten past that. Whoever's doing your tuning, hit them up, see if they got any updates for you, data log it, that kind of stuff. And Mike Chamberlain, yes, at 1 o'clock we're going to lunch. Mike, thank you.
Live video pause. I might come back.
There we go.
Hey.
If it's Lund, put in a new ticket, and if you have one that is open, ask them in there.
If
and
it's
see if there's any
fail-safing
updates.
and it's on a monoblade tune, your throttle body's no good, plain and simple. And we're not. There's nothing we can do to make it work. It needs to either get shipped back to whoever or just get another throttle body, because we have stopped chasing an issue with that throttle body. We know it works. on a good working throttle. Ben Calamer has a monoblade on 2 of his vehicles, and we use 2 tunes at work, and it just works. I've had good working monoblades, others haven't. So it's not a tune issue when it comes to that throttle body. It's typically a throttle body issue.
As far as GT350 throttle body, I haven't seen any gains from those over the
Zero
stock
gains.
ones. It goes back to the 11 to 14s when guys were putting it was like a 90 millimeter, 92 millimeter BBQ.
Yeah.
We weren't seeing any power out of them.
No.
I don't think that over the factory size throttle body really is much to gain there. There is a question here about a mechanical on a Cobra Jet. Can we run a mechanical throttle body with the stock computer?
No.
On a 13. I don't think that's an option. So you have to use a standalone to get away with that. So with a stock computer, you're not going to be able to install a mechanical monoblade on there to try to get rid of the issue and just add a throttle cable, because none of the logic's correct. The computer's going to freak out and you're going to be back in fail-safe mode again.
Naturally aspirated, all you need is a twin 65.
Yeah, if you had a Cobra Jet.
Yeah.
If you have an 18 manifold though, stock throttle
body.
Not to mention, can you even tune a GT350 throttle body with a stock GT computer?
Yes.
You can.
Yeah.
Squared away.
On a 15 and up, but we don't see any gains.
No gains there.
Not like 2 horse. You're gonna pay what, $300 for throttle body for 2 horse?
So if you're going to use a Holley EFI, then yes, you can use a mechanical throttle body, because you'll be able to program that TP right into it, and you don't have to worry about the stock computer not being compatible.
Yeah. The question is, why would you want to? But that's up to you. Then you're tuning it at that point, not us.
Yeah, if it's a race car, it makes a lot of sense. You want to have control of your own tuning, try to simplify things. By all means, go right ahead.
But we're not tuning it.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't do it, but.
Nah.
All right, well, it's almost lunchtime.
Yeah, I'm gonna duck out.
So I think we're gonna.
I got a half day today, so if you guys are Lund Racing customers, we have a half day today. We're done tuning at 12. Pick up everything up Wednesday. All the crew will be back. Nardi, Dakota, Junior, Senior, they'll all be back Wednesday.
Alrighty, guys. Thanks for visiting with us and joining our live video. We're gonna try to do these a little bit more often in 2019. Is another things we're gonna do. As far as a K-member swap. I'm not really sure what you're referencing there. Just give us a call. Call Christian. He handles all the labor quotes, and he can definitely help you map things out if you're going to be doing it. As far as me, we're going to lunch. I think we're going to hit Flanagan's for lunch today. The last lunch of 2018. And we're going to start the year strong. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you to all our customers. Thank you to all the dealers, all the distribution points, anybody you suggested to use our product. We appreciate all the support. Without you guys, wouldn't be able to do this stuff and continue to come up with new stuff just about almost every week now. So the list of products we want to build keeps getting bigger and bigger. We're going to start manufacturing and trying to match that up here in 2019. Thank you again. You guys have a great new year. Be safe. Don't do anything crazy. And have a great night. Have a good one, guys.